People tell me they want the bear. Well, it is time we give them the bear. This is the level 60 build for Seasonal Discovery. The feral tank is extremely strong, very high scaling, and we're gonna kick some butt. So how's the build gonna look like? We're gonna take 5 points in ferocity because that's gonna reduce the rage cost. That's a no-brainer. We're gonna take 5 points into armor right here. We're gonna have some points left over for later, and we might as well spend them here because we're gonna get crit, okay? That's one of the features of being a bear, sadly. And then we're gonna take Feral Instinct. This is just 15% more threat. That's simple enough. Then we're gonna go here and Sharpen Claws. We're gonna get 6% free crit. We're gonna take the bear one, which is this one right here. We're gonna get rage every time we crit. Then we're gonna take Predatory Strikes because it is attack power, 150%. That means that is 90 attack power for free. It is pretty decent. We're gonna take Fairy Fire Feral. This is a range ability. And not only it reduces armor, of course you want to put it on the target, but it's also your range pulling ability, so it's really useful. Because it sucks having to shapeshift out of bear and losing all your rage every time you want to do a range pull. Now right here, we got a bit of a stock, we gotta get something else here. We are not gonna take Feral Aggression because the Demoralizing Shout to the warrior is better anyway. Like if your DPS warriors are not even gonna provide that for you, why are they even in the raid? We are gonna take 1 point in Feral Charge so we can interrupt and be able to go right on top of the boss immediately. That's pretty good. Then we are gonna take Heart of the Wild. Of course that is a buff of 20% stamina. How can you go wrong with 20% stamina? And then we're gonna take Leader of the Pack. Now this thing is not really for you, but it is for everybody. This will buff the melees and the hunters at 3%. 3% crit is a lot of free crit. We gotta choose 2 talents that are really useless here. We might as well take Nature's Grasp for PvP, I guess. You can take Improved Rat if you wanna do Rat for some reason. They both suck. Then we're gonna take Natural Weapons because this is 10% more damage. Of course we wanna get damage. And finally, Omen of Clarity. There is a chance when we hit of getting a free next ability, so we can get a free mangle, a free swipe every so often. It's pretty cool. We got a couple talents left over. We're gonna take 20% more damage for our swipe, of course. It also affects Maul. Maul is a big part of your threat, of course. We are gonna take 5 points in Furor, so when we go Bear form, we can take more rage. Now, if you wanna be a tryhard, if you want only the hardest threat possible, you're gonna go here for Improved Enrage because it is more rage. If you are not a sweaty tryhard, you probably want to get Feline Swiftness because that makes your cat form run faster inside the raids, so it's gonna be pretty useful. I would take this, but if you want to be a tryhard, you want to take this one. For the runes, they are all pretty simple because there is only like 1 bear rune every freaking slot. We got Gore here because every time we lacerate or swipe, we got a chance of getting another mangle and 10 rage. That's a lot of rage. This thing got buffed to heck. Then for the back, we're gonna take the new swipe rune. It's gonna turn your swipe into an AoE, and it's insane. I don't think I need to tell you how insane this buff is. So even if they are not the best at tanking a bunch of mobs in AoE, they will definitely be able to hold aggro. Then for the chest, of course, we're gonna take Wild Strikes. This is why I said you're gonna get crit. You really cannot skip this one unless you got like 2 druids in your group. You have to go Wild Strikes. It is the best Wind Fury that exists. Of course, if you do have another druid that can do it for you, you can take Survival of the Fittest, so you are immune to crit, but you probably are not gonna be crit immune, so we're gonna go Wild Strikes. For the wrist, we're gonna be taking right here Frenzy Regeneration. I mean, it's the only one you can really take. They are all useless here, don't pay too much mind to it. For the hands, we're gonna take Mangle, because Mangle is gonna be your filler ability. Not really the filler, it's gonna be your in-between ability. This is the equivalent of the Shield Slam for the warrior, really. It does a lot of threat, and it also increases bleeding damage. You gotta keep it up. You are gonna keep it up anyway because you wanna do it anyway. Then for the waist, we're gonna be taking Berserk. It has bear in the name, haha. When you pop this one, you get like cheaper abilities and you do more damage, and your Mangle doesn't have a cooldown. So you pop this baby and you spam Mangle and you do a cachillion threat. For the legs, we're gonna be taking Lacerate. That's gonna be your actual filler. This is gonna be the equivalent of the Thunder Armor for the warrior. It does a lot of threat, it puts a dot on the target and you can stack it 5 times. For Pokémon's feet, we're gonna be taking Survival Instincts because when you dodge, you're gonna get some rage, and it is also a defensive cooldown. Now when you pop it, you're gonna get 30% of your health. Now for the rings, you only got 2 choices here. You're gonna take, of course, Feral Combat because you're a bear, you got paw. You know, it's like in the icon. That's your weapon. And then for the other ring, we're gonna take Defense. Defense is a terrible stat for a bear. But with the new changes, Defense means 4 times the attack power. So if you got 25 defense, that is 100 attack power for free. The reason that defense sucks for a bear is that defense goes to parry and block, and you cannot parry or block. So yeah, it's pretty useless. But 100 AP is 100 AP, it doesn't hurt, you might as well take it, there's nothing else to take. Your stat priority changed a little bit too, you wanna get your 9%, of course minus the ring bonus, so it is 6% hit you gotta get. If you're in Sunken Temple gear, you are already over the cap, so after that you wanna get attack power or strength. The reason you don't wanna take agility like I recommended you before, unless you wanna be a lot tankier, is because you scale with weapon damage, a lot of weapon damage. Also, the wall buffs are gonna give you a bunch of crit for free. You got a bunch of buffs that give you crit for free in this tier actually. So we actually scale very well with attack power now, and we're gonna take advantage of that. Next stat is gonna be agility. Agility is 20 agility per crit, of course, but agility is even better because agility gives you dodge and it gives you armor, and you're a bear. Of course you want dodge and armor, that's all you have. Finally, of course, we're gonna stack stamina on the bottom. Stamina is HP. You multiply your stamina when you turn into a bear. You scale very well with stamina. The bear is rather tanky, so the bear is doing pretty solid. Your rotation is still rather deceptively simple. Number 1 on the priority is Mangle. Whenever you can do Mangle, you wanna drop a Mangle, of course. After that, you're gonna do Lacerate. You gotta stack 5 stacks of Lacerate, but even as a filler, when you cannot do Mangle, it's still a really good stat. And if you're rage capping on top of that, like if you're doing mangles and lacerates so as much as you can and you still got rage left over, you can do maul. Maul hits like a freaking truck, guys. But as I like to call it in phase 2, back when lacerate was not a rune that you could get because it was in the same spot as mangle, I used to call the bear the 3-minute tank, because when you pop Berserk and you could spam Mangle, you could have the best threat in the game, and this is no exception, guys. When you need a bunch of threat, or when you're popping your cooldowns, or whatever you gotta do, just make sure you got Lacerate on the boss first, of course. And once you got the 5 stacks, you pop Berserk and you spam Mangle like a madman, and you're gonna beat anybody that you can imagine on threat. It's not possible to pull aggro of a bear with Berserk. Also, do not forget, you're probably gonna pull doing this, but you wanna keep Fairy Fire on the target at all times. Fairy Fire reduces armor, so it's really good, but it also does a decent amount of threat, believe it or not. Like, if you got no rage, if you're completely starved of rage, you can drop a Fairy Fire as a filler, and it's gonna help. Overall, the bear is a really easy to play, very tanky, very competitive on threat tank. There is really no weakness to it anymore, except the fact that they are not very good at tanking AoE. They can hold aggro on AoE, but they cannot tank, survive AoE very well. That's the only thing they got. Even when you look at something like Molten Core, where you would say, yeah, they are gonna take a lot of fire damage and the bear is all about armor, it's still not really quite true, because if you wanna stack stamina for Molten Core, even without a lot of resistance, like, you get a multiplier when you get your bear form for stamina, your HP multiplies, so you don't need a lot of stamina to have a lot of HP in bear form. I would guess that the main strength of the bear is that it has no weakness whatsoever. I am leveling a warrior first this tier, but I'm gonna level my bear next, and I'm gonna have to choose which one I like more. I guess I'm gonna tell you about that, but the bear is definitely a very workable tank right now. They are probably the top 3 best, top 2 best in the tier. And they scale very well, so I do not see that changing. Please do not nerf us, Agrent, please. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.